In football's modern era, it's very difficult for a player to fly under the radar. Being underrated means not getting the fair amount of critical acclaim that you deserve, and obviously, there are far more than 10 players who due to their recent performances should definitely be included in this list. But these chosen few continue to fit the bill more than most. So, we're Thorn FC, considered by many the most underrated football channel on YouTube, and these are the 10 most underrated football players in the 2023-24 season. Number 10, Lautaro Martinez. It's incredible how this man is never mentioned when a big team is looking for a striker. The Argentinian star has been consistently netting over 20 goals a season for the past 5 years, and this time around, he could very well finish the season with over 30 goals. Still, no matter if that happens or not, Osimhen, who's only 1 year younger and has had an inferior season compared to Lautaro, will most likely be the most sought after striker in Serie A. Even in his own national team, Alvarez is still above him in the pecking order, which just goes to show that the league and club where you're at still plays an enormous role in the world of football. Number 9, Darwin Nunes. Now, I know I've been a critic of Darwin in the past, but as someone who is fortunate enough to have somewhat of a stage to leave my opinions, it's important that I always remain coherent and point out my own mistakes. Darwin lit the Liga Portugal on fire during his relatively short stint in Lisbon, and many hoped that Nunes and Haaland would have a fierce battle to determine who was the best striker in what was the debut season for both players. Well, there wasn't really a battle, since one was a candidate to win the Ballon d'Or, while the other was a candidate to the worst signing last season. Although it's safe to say that Darwin is still nowhere near the level that Haaland showed last year, the Uruguayan star has definitely improved his game. Since the beginning of 2024, Nunes has picked up the pace by registering 9 goal contributions. So far, he has basically quadrupled the number of assists from last season, and he'll surely surpass his modest 15 goal mark from the previous term as well. Let's hope he continues to improve and proving us doubters wrong. Number 8, Romelu. When Real Madrid signed a striker from Espanyol to replace Karim Benzema, Los Merengues lost their minds. No way a striker from a relegated team could win them the Champions League or even La Liga. Well, while Romelu hasn't and probably won't grab a starting 11 spot in Madrid's team, he's their second best goal scorer alongside Rodrigo, but will have 600 minutes of game time. At this point, I think it's fair to say that he's definitely surpassed expectations, which rarely happens in these types of transfers. Number 7, Isco. Continuing on in La Liga, we got ourselves a player who has brought his career back from the dead. Isco was once the best young player in the world, and I think we can confidently say that he had a decent career. After all, he pushed Bale out of Real Madrid's starting 11 and played a big role in several title victories in the last decade. But time waits for no man, and due to his recurrent fitness issues, Real gave him the boot. Following that departure, a nightmarish chapter began in Isco's life. From fighting Sevilla's sporting director to being disrespected by Union Berlin, 2023 looked like the end for the former Golden Boy. But against all odds, Betis decided to give Isco a chance, 8 months after he had played his last match as a professional football player, and so far, that bold move has proven to be more than worth it. Isco has been Betis' best player and one of the main reasons they're still contending for European qualification. So much so that the Andalusian club has already renewed his contract until 2027. Number 6, Alex Grimaldo. If I had created this channel earlier, you could bet your ass Grimaldo would have been in a list like this at least for the past 6 seasons. It's absolutely mental how this guy always flew under the radar of the top European clubs during his time with Benfica, as he was, alongside Teles, the best left back in the Portuguese league for almost 10 years. Still, no club was really that convinced on taking him away from Lisbon until his contract finally expired last season. I vividly remember many Benfica fans becoming confused and even mocking Grimaldo for leaving their club who could win the league every year to play in a club that could only reach the Europa League level. Well, who's laughing now? Benfica are struggling without a proper left back, while Leverkusen are playing the best football in Europe, 8 points above Bayern. Then again, everyone's talking about Wirtz, Palacios, Boniface, Xhaka, but very few realize how crucial Grimaldo's runs on the flank and 11 assists have been to Leverkusen's success. Number 5, Diogo Dalot. Another fullback who has been proving everyone wrong is Diogo Dalot. Ever since he joined the Red Devils in 2018, Dalot always fell out of place. In a way, I felt that he was wasting his potential by rotting in Man United's bench and that he should just return to his origins. But this season, Dalot has proven that he has everything that you'd expect out of a traditional Man United player. He provides support on the wing, he shows up at central midfield, but never compromises his offensive game, and above all, he has a never say die attitude. Game after game, Dalot continues to shut up his critics, and if you haven't already, pay attention to him next time you're watching a Man United match. I'm sure you'll be surprised with the player he has become. Number 4. Joshua Zirkzee. Inter might be running away with the Serie A title, but there's so much more going on in Serie A right now that you simply can't afford to overlook. And one of them is Bologna's impressive run. Led by Thiago Motta, the historic Italian club wants to return to their former glory, and at the time I'm making this video, they're still contending for Champions League qualification. This is absolutely massive, since the club hadn't achieved such a remarkable league finish since the late 60s. And leading Bologna's attacking front is Joshua Zirkzee, a Dutch striker who was quietly released by Bayern in 2022 that is now well bent on making sure the Bavarians regret letting him go. With 10 goals and 5 assists, Zirkzee is starting to make his presence felt, and trust me when I tell you, it won't take long before you see his name on the back of an elite club's shirt. Number 3. Pier lees-melou. Who? No disrespect to the player, but I'm sure 90% of you watching have never heard about him, as other than a forgettable Premier League season where he was a part of Norwich's relegated team, his career has been largely spent in the obscure depths of Ligue 1's mid-table. This season though, Pier stepped his game up and became the inspired midfield leader in Stade Brestois, a club whose best league finish was a modest 8th place back in 1987. But game in and game out, Pier lees-melou continues to inspire the French underdogs to massive results. He scored the winner against Bastl in their last encounter and was the best player on the field in their 2-2 draw against PSG. At 30 years old, I'm not sure if he'll ever be able to jump to a bigger team, but no matter what happens next, this man deserves more recognition. Number 2. Pascal Gross. Gross is not only one of the most underrated players from this season, but is arguably also Germany and the Premier League's most underrated baller for the past 4 years. There, I said it, roast me all you want, but first, hear me out. He was bought for only 3 million euros, he can play as a right winger, a right back, a defensive midfielder, central midfielder, and even as a number 10. He barely gets injured in one of the most physical leagues in the world, while also scoring or assisting in the biggest games. Oh, and for the stats boys, across his 7 seasons in the Prem, he has averaged 12 goal contributions in each one of them. Truly a remarkable player that would fit right in like a glove in many of the so-called big teams in England. And number 1, Romelu Lukaku. Lukaku's finished, Lukaku screwed Lukaku. That's all you were last summer, and to be fair, many of the criticism that he suffered was completely fair. After all, since 2021, all that Lukaku has done is proving that he's as loyal to the clubs that pay his wages as Triple H was in the WWE. Couple those issues with his lackluster performances in his returns to both Chelsea and Inter, and you'd also assume that at 30 years old, his best option was to start learning Arabic. But against the odds, in a Roma side full of problems, Lukaku appears to have found the perfect match for his current context. The Belgian forward is Roma's top scorer in the league with 9 goals, the overall best in Europa League with 6 goals in 7 matches, and to cap it all off, he finished Euro 2024 qualification as a top scorer as well, with 14 goals in 8 matches, firmly declaring to the whole world that the Belgian golden generation might be dead, but his career surely isn't. And that's our list. What other players do you believe I should have included? Let me know in the comments. Drop a like to help this video get to more people, and subscribe to join the fastest growing football channel on YouTube, where you'll find the most interesting discussions, crazy stories, and controversial top 10 lists. Thank you for watching until the end, I appreciate you, and I will see you soon.